All right, so now for part 2 of our complex shapes. As you can see, I've photographed these, and I am not a really good photographer and my lighting is not good, but we can still use these images of the shapes that we made in part 1 of the video. So now I'm going to start using a few apps to tweak these images, and I am probably not going to show you everything there is to know about these apps. I'm just going to go through the steps that I'm going to use to create these. Learning these apps is a whole separate course by itself. So in this video, I'm showing you how I'm going to tweak these shapes to use in a digital image. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Art Studio Pro. This is one of my main editing apps. And I'm going to create a new document. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to make one that's a big square. That's the size I typically start with first. And it's just a plain canvas. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add one of these images that we made. And I get an option to resize it, and I usually go ahead and resize it so I can see the whole image here. And the first step I'm going to do is try to adjust this so that I don't have to go into another app, because I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to go into levels and I'm going to drag my sliders until I can't see anything else here. Then I'm going to take my eraser tool and I'm going to get rid of this little guy here. And I'm just going to look and maybe clean up a few little stray marks that I don't think are going to add to what I want to do. And now I want to get rid of the background because I want this to be a transparent image. And I turned off my background here. I'm going to take my selection tool. I'm going to select the white part here. And I can already tell this is not going to do what I want it to do, which is, see all these white inside here? I want that to be gone. So my first step probably should have been to take it into a different app, which is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go out into an app called Background Eraser. And I'm going to go into my recent photos and see if I can find this image here. Click Done. And I'm going to choose Color. I'm going to undo this, and then I'm going to choose this. And then I'm going to crank my threshold up till I get everything here. And this has got everything that is white or cream colored. So now I'm going to save this back out to my camera roll. And I'm going to go back into Art Studio. I know this is a go back and forth kind of a deal. And I'm going to add this again. And you see it has a transparent background. Now I'm still going to erase this little part right here, and this little part here, and that little part there. And I am going to adjust the levels because I want it a little bit brighter, a little more contrast. And there I have my first shape. Now when I save this shape, I'm going to save it by going up to File. I'm just going to do a quick export as a PNG because that will preserve the transparent background. And that way I have that shape on its own. Now I'm going to go ahead and just turn that one off and add the next one. I'm not sure. Oh, I've already done that one. Never mind. So I'm going to add my next one. I'm going to go down here to, let's say this one right here. It's really big. I really like this one a lot. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to try this because I really, on this one, I'd like to keep some of the white parts that are inside the image. So I think I'm just going to erase, now I have to deselect the white part, and I like the way this looks. So I believe I used this one in the project, and you'll see how the white is a good thing to have. So once again, quick export as a PNG. And you see how this works. You just remove the background, tweak it, the brightness. If you want to change colors, you can do that. You can change your, you can change it around like this. You can change these colors to anything you want. But I'm going to leave them like this for now. So that is how we modify the shapes. I used two apps. I used a background eraser and my Art Studio Pro. A lot of people use Procreate. It would do the job as well. And so now we're going to start creating the image. All right, so now it's time to create a digital image from all of the shapes that we made on our gel plates. So I'm going to go into Art Studio Pro again. That's one of my favorite editing apps. And I'm going to back out of this. And I'm going to create a new document. And then I'm going to fill this document with a color. And I'm going to choose a blue, like just a mid-tone blue right here. Maybe a tad lighter. There we go. And this is a little flat and a little boring, so I am going to add a shape. Okay, so I am going to add a texture to this, and I'm just going to add a blank texture. This could be a photo of your wall texture. It could be anything. And I'm going to set this to the multiply blend mode, and that will delete all the white or lighter tones in the image. And I might drop it down just a little bit. I just want a little interest in the background. So now I'm going to add one of the shapes that we did on the gel plate. And I am going to bring it to the left side of the image, like this. And I'm probably going to blend it a little bit. Overlay, soft light, probably overlay, but I'm going to drop the opacity down because I want it a little brighter than soft light, but not stark. So there I have that one. And my next image is going to be my subject, which is going to be figure. And this is one of the figures that I've done before. I've made stencils out of this one. And I'm going to select out the white in this image, and I'm going to get rid of it. And you'll see why in a minute. And then I'm going to position it in the far right corner. Now to go over this, because I don't want it to remain black, I'm going to add a jelly print, just a paper that I made, I think for a color challenge on Makers of Mixed Media Art. And I am going to place this right here. And I'm going to clip it to the image so that the black areas of the figure will have this pattern inside. And the way to do that is to tap on your layer and go down to where it says clipping mask. And it will fill the black area with that paper texture. Now I kind of want to adjust it a little bit. I think it's a little bit light, so I'm going to increase the contrast and there. And I'm also going to bring it forward a little bit by adding a drop shadow, and that's down here in the effects. And I'm also going to make it just a little bit larger. And there we go. All right. I like that a lot. But now I want to take this figure that we did over here before, and I'm going to duplicate it because I want to move this over here, and I'm going to turn it around, and I just want to use maybe part of it right up in here. I want that part covered. I'm pretty happy with that. And let's see. Yeah, I think that's good. Now I may want to select this layer, these two layers, and copy them because I want this a little bit brighter. And that might be a blend mode here. Yes, I like soft light, so I'm going to leave that there. I might have to drop it down just a tad. All right, so now I want to add one more layer, and I'm going to add another shape that we did on our jelly plate. I'm going to add this one, and I'm going to flip it around. I mean, it looks terrible right now, but you'll see it's going to look better here in a little bit. I'll put this right here. And I am going to erase this part right here, just because I don't think it's necessary. All right, now I'm going to put this in a blend mode. One of my favorite blend modes is difference, because it will reverse the colors. So now you see it's this vibrant purple, and I really like it. Of course, I am going to have to drop the opacity down some, and I want to take away some of it from the figure, so I'm going to add a mask, and then I'm going to paint with black. I'm going to take a brush, and I'm going to paint with black, kind of a large brush. And I'm just going to kind of brush in the figure, maybe a little bit larger. And I'm going to do some of it right here. And I've dropped the opacity of the brush because I want a little bit of it, but not a ton. All right, I think that's good. So now I'm going to save this to the camera roll. And I'm going to take this into a filter app and apply a few filters, and then I'm going to play with the blend modes to get the look that I want for this image. So an app I like for this is an app called Pixlr, and I'm going to go into Pixlr, and I'm going to click on the photo that we just did, And down here are my filters, and I'm going to scroll through them and decide which ones I kind of like. I like the Antonio one, and you can lower the opacity a little bit here. I do like this one, so I'm going to apply it, and I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to go to the back button, and I'm going to go apply another filter. This time, the Ivan filter, and I am going to drop that slightly about halfway. And I'm going to save it to the camera roll. And do I want anything else before I leave the app? Let's look. Maybe this first one. Okay. All right, so I have 3 variations of some different colorations. So I'm going to go back to Art Studio Pro, and I'm going to add these one at a time. And then I'm going to play with blend modes, mess around until I decide if I like it or not. Okay, so I'm going to turn these 2 off. I really like this one. I think I may drop the opacity down. That's pretty good. Maybe a little more green. Take this bottom one up a little bit more. All right, I like that. So now I'm going to save this final version to the camera roll. And now I want to frame this with an edge. And to do that, I'm going to go into an app called Chromatic Edges. And I really like this app a lot. It does take a little bit of time to get used to messing around with it. And when you first bring your image in, it automatically applies an edge. And they have all kinds of different types of edges that you can apply to your image. And you can create an image over here on the right by just clicking on any one of these and creating your own custom frame, which is what I've done for this image, which is this one right here. And I'm going to now save this out. It does take a while to save it. The file size is a little bit large. So now I'm going to go back into Art Studio Pro once again, and I'm going to add this layer back in. And the reason I'm doing this is because the edge is pretty strong here, and I may want to, actually it dropped it in underneath that. So I may want to lower the opacity just a little bit because that's a little bit stark. Just a little bit. And so there we have it. This is our final image done with shapes and brayer-offs and pieces of jelly printing that may just end up in a stack of papers that never gets looked at. And this is what we can create with it. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you come back for more. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.